Well. How's everybody tonight? I know only a few of us are here right now because everybody's still over at Aries because he was doing the knife giveaway, but welcome in. So, let's see who we got here so far. We got Ground Fog, Marco, East Coast Ghost, Appliance Guy, Lakeside 8, Neil McKenzie, Mopatty EDC, Robert Jones, channel member. Neil McKenzie is a channel member, by the way. NFK20. NFK20 just signed up to be part of the Explorers Club. You will get a lightsaber salute. Well. How's everybody tonight? Oops. I know only a few of us are here. Sorry about that. Excellent. Jason Beecher, hello there. And Merry Christmas, my friend. Appreciate that. Rolf Robertson, Merry Christmas. Barbie EDC Girl, Merry Christmas. Let's see, who else is here? Ramses Silent, channel member. Welcome in. Who else? Geek Machinist Elijah, welcome in, buddy. How are you? Glad you're here. Let's see who else we got. I think we're caught up with who's here at the. Oh no, we've got more. Bradley Swanee, hello there. Ed Gordon, welcome in. Thomas Wheeler, welcome in, friend. How are you? Ron Crow, channel member, hello and Merry Christmas. Who else we got? What else we got? Who else? Buzz, what's up? How are you doing? Ginger Fisher, welcome in, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate that. Let's see. Dilemma Man Trauma, hello there. Welcome in. Glad you're here and you're a channel member, so thanks for doing that. Appreciate it. KR Knives, welcome in. Cat Scratch, welcome in, my friend. Who else we got here? Let's do it. Hey, it's the Johnsons, channel member. Welcome in. Adventure Man, channel member. Stephen Parks, welcome in. Boominati Ninja, channel member. How are you? Wyvern Kodiak, welcome in, my friend. Let's see. Everybody's saying hello to each other. That's kind of cool. As you can see, I'm very festive tonight. I've got the festive hat on. This is one of my favorite hats. I love this time of year because I get to really wear that hat. Ever Evolving Daily Carry, hello there and welcome into the chat. Appreciate you being here. So, you guys know I missed last week. Last week was a ridiculous week. I was rearranging stuff in his office and I literally threw my back out. But it was a weird kind of way my back went out because it was down in my tailbone and up through my lower spine to the point where I couldn't sit without pain. The only way I could be without pain was to lay on my side because any pressure was putting too much pressure on the tailbone, was shooting up, the pain was shooting right up my spine into my lower back. I wound up going to work on Monday. I only worked like 4 hours and I couldn't take the pain. I had to go home. And then I missed work Tuesday and Wednesday because of all the pain. But we managed to get through it. So because I wasn't here last week, we have got all kinds of stuff to show you that came into the channel last week and this week. And one knife that I'm missing. So I don't know what happened. I had ordered a drop bear from Kaiser. I never had the original drop bear. I only had the drop bear 2. So I wanted I took advantage of the sales. And Roger Baker, welcome in. How you doing, my friend? Channel member. Robin Dallum, welcome in, channel member. Appreciate you being here. So, with that being said, I ordered at the same time from Kaiser. I ordered a smalt and a drop bear, the original drop bear. It was the one with the clear acrylic scales that said Rule 9, always carry a knife, which I thought was really cool. I somehow misplaced it. I was on the couch the other night when I was in all that pain, and I went to sit in the recliner because the recliner wasn't causing me as much pain. And I said, "Oh, let me take a knife over to the recliner." I put it down. I fell asleep in the chair. Now I can't find this knife anywhere. I don't know. I thought maybe it fell under the chair. We moved that. Thought maybe it slid under the couch. Maybe my cat was playing with it. Just can't find it. So it's a mystery. It's here somewhere, but it's driving me nuts because I really like that knife a lot. You know. Cliff Brott, welcome in. Henry G. I'm not sure if I said hello to you, but if I didn't, hello there, my friend. How's the sound? Everybody sounds doing okay? El Cap Addict, hello, how have you been, buddy? Joe Kasperick, hello, my friend. So, I think the sound should be okay because I just realized I'm not wearing my mic. It's sitting on the table in front of me. So let's put the mic on. Hopefully the sound will be even better. All right, that should fix that. Okay, good, good. Did I see SC Knife Monkey in the house? SC Mike Knife Monkey, hello there, my friend. Yeah, Robin, this is one of my favorite hats. I got this going back about, I don't know, like 6, 7 years ago. We went to Gettysburg for New Year's Eve. If anybody's ever been in Gettysburg, PA around New Year's Eve, in the center of town, they do a giant ball drop and a celebration. It's kind of like being in Times Square, but only with like 400 or 500 people instead of thousands of people. And it's a really good time. They have bands outdoors that play. But the night we were there, it was going to be 0 degrees, and we were going to be nuts and stand outside, watch this ball drop. And we got there, and I was like, it's going to be cold. So I bundled up and I bought this hat last minute because one, I love the lights, but it's also the warmest hat I have. And the reason why it's so warm, it's double layered because there's wires going through the whole hat. So they have to protect those wires. So it's literally a double layered hat. And you can, beside making it blink like that, you can make it flash like that. But you know, I prefer the slow blinking. All right, so let's talk some knives. And we have got a lot to talk about. So let's start going through some of the stuff that came in. We'll go from the littlest stuff to the biggest stuff. So the first knife I'm going to show you guys is a little slip joint knife. Check that out. You know what? Let me turn on a light so we can see just a little bit better. I want to use that light. Yeah, I'll use this light. Just a little bit so we can see just a little bit better. So look at this guy. This is a little toothpick slip joint. Really awesome looking little blade. Look at that handle. Now, there's no manufacturer marking other than it's saying on the blade, Rancher Toothpick. Yeah, that's what, ever evolving daily carry, that's why I don't have it on that flashing mode. Definitely don't want to cause seizures. But check that out. Look at the colorway. Really nice little knife, sharp as hell. Ramsey Silent, member for 5 months. You get a lightsaber salute. Awesome. Thank you for being a member. We appreciate that. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I think the colors are really cool. It is a sharp little bugger. I was cutting with this earlier. In fact, I was tying a couple of lanyards with paracord, and I was using this to cut the paracord. And just a really, really sharp knife. You know, fit and finish, probably could be slightly better, but it's not bad at all. The fit and finish on this, the pins just stick up very slightly, but other than that, it's really good. I mean, and that color is just fantastic. Bluminati Ninja member for 3 months. You, my friend, get a lightsaber salute. Awesome. Thank you, Blue. I appreciate you being a channel member. Let's see if anybody else came in. I missed it. All right. Okay. So, second knife that came in, and I don't know if I showed this the last 2 weeks ago or not, but I know I put the video out on it last week, and that was the Finch. And that's in the cream soda way. And this is the Geneva Spur. I did a video on this. This is a fantastic knife. Just love this thing. But I think I may have showed it, so we're going to go just look at that real quick. And hey, it's the Johnsons, member for 2 months. You get a lightsaber salute. Very cool. So, the next knife that came in was, oh, the Finch design is awesome. I mean, they're one of my favorite companies, bar none. So the next knife that came in, and we got a couple of these, was the Walmart Glacier. Last year this was in white. This year they're doing it in olive. It's the, 3CR kind of bug out, knife. $7. I love this knife. It's so much fun to play with. It's ultra fidgety, and it's just a really kind of cool knife for $7. Toss around. And then they have this one, which is another one of their Christmas knives that's selling for $7. 3CR thumb flipper. I actually think this is actually one of the nicer $7 knives. Again, 3CR, so nothing great on the steel. But look at the pivot collar. It's got a bronze around the pivot collar, and the screws are bronze as well, at least bronze colored. That's kind of a nice touch, nice look. It's got this rubberized kind of G10. It's a rubberized handle. I don't think it's G10. I'm not sure what the material is, but it is rubberized. And you've got that nice blade shape, big size, nice choil right, finger choil right there, and the jimping is pretty good. You could do a lot worse for $7. If you just needed a knife, like you're traveling and you can't carry a knife with you on the plane, but you want to have a knife in the city you go to, go pick one of these up. They're $7. And then either mail it home or give it to somebody you see on the way out. Like I said, $7, but that, or just throw it in keep a beater knife in your car, Salvo Zen, hello there. Welcome in, welcome in. And you are a channel member, and I appreciate that. Appreciate you being here, as always. So, the next knife that came in that I did a short on, Brown Sugar, hello there. You are a channel member as well, and thank you so much for being here. Burnt Relic, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. So next one is a knife by DreamTech. Not a bad knife. You've got a front flipper on this, a traditional flipper. You've got the jade handleway, D2. No, what is this? This is, yeah, D2 steel. Deep carry clip. You've got that frag pattern on there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera. Yeah, you can see the frag pattern. Ultra grippy. Feels really good. You've got that slight harpoon right here with jimping. The jimping isn't like super grippy, but with the harpoon, it's grippy enough. Feels really good in the hand. I like this thing. And these are like, I don't know, like 27 bucks or so. Liner lock. Not a bad knife. And that front flipper is small, but it does work. Although I'm probably not going to be able to do it on camera, I bet. No, I got it. So, kind of cool. Again, that's a DreamTech. This is the first DreamTech knife I've ever had. Not bad. The only thing I wish they didn't do, and actually it doesn't bother me as much as I know it'll bother some people out there, they put the DreamTech name on the clip. You know, where the DT on the pivot was fine for me. You know, but there's nothing on the blade, which is nice. So that came in, you know, kind of cool. Then I had two knives that I bought off of Geek Machinist. Elijah sold these to me. And the first one is the Artisan Cutlery Sea Snake. Fixed blade. Now on this one, Elijah extended out the choil a little more to make it safer. He has bigger hands than I do. If anybody's ever met Elijah, he's a big man. He's tall. He's just a big guy. So he made this to fit his hand a little bit better. What's nice though is that because of that finger choil, you can get a nice 4-finger grip on this. And this thing is ultra slicey. Great jimping. You know, I really like this one. And Elijah, I really thank you for selling this one to me. First thing I did though is I threw an Ulti clip on it to use as a pocket dropper. Really nice. The only thing is that it sits a little loose in the sheath. I may heat that up just to tighten it, but really like it. Coin Silver, hello there, welcome in. Beefer Baron, hello, welcome in, welcome in. Appreciate everybody being here. I love this. Sunday night, the weekend before Christmas, hanging out with my closest friends in the knife community. I love all you guys and gals. So the next knife that I got from Elijah was this guy. And this is the CJRB cane. Now, look at this thing. Aluminum handles, AR RPM 9 blade steel, ultra pointy. Nice small knife, but I can still get 4 fingers on it. Kind of got a gentleman's knife profile, but if anybody's seen the Big Idea Design Overlook, you know that thing's 200. Thank you, Ever Evolving Daily Carry. Appreciate that. So if anybody's seen the and I wish, I don't know, I'd have to go through the cases because I don't remember where I put it, but the Big Idea Design Overlook is 200 bucks. These come in at around the $40 mark. And if you look at it, it's got the same blade shape, same kind of handle. This is a great alternative if you don't want to spend that much money, but you want that style of knife. The cane is where it's at. You wearing a wire? I missed something in the chat there. But cool knife, like I said. Next thing that had come in, and I don't know if I showed this on the last show. I may have, but I did a full length video on this, and that is the the Civivi Outlaw Muck. Love this knife. Okay, ever works perfect. Appreciate that. So, but this is the Civivi Outlaw Muck. What a knife! What a knife on this. This is an American Outlaw design. I love a Nessmuck knife. And I know I'm pretty sure I showed this on the last show, but I wanted to show it again because I wasn't 100% sure if I did. But what a knife. Absolutely. Yeah, the Nessmuck blade is sweet. I'm a big fan of Nessmuck stuff, but that's because I read his book early on in my camping career, and it's amazing what he talked about then about traveling lightweight and everything else, that all your big hikers and backpackers, they do that today. And he was calling it back in the early 1900s, late 1800s. So pretty cool stuff. So I said the drop bear came in. Don't know what happened to it. Like I said, it's here somewhere in the house. But the other knife that came in, and I'm pretty sure I might have showed this one. I'm not sure. J1 Doobie in the house. Hello there, my friend. So this is the Kaiser Militar fixed blade. I love my Militars, and I had to have the Kaiser Militar fixed blade. This is the D2 version. These were really at a terrific price for Black Friday, so I had to get me one. I love it. You got the jimping up here, jimping back here. That neutral handle, which makes the Militar so great. Yes, I dropped the drop bear. It's a good point. I dropped that. I wish I knew where I dropped it. But the Militar fixed blade is nice. It's a very neutral design. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the most attractive knife in the world, but functionally, it's kind of cool. I like it. And what's nice is it's a nice sized knife, and they do give you a taco sheath with it. So that's really kind of cool. But it's kind of little brother is this one, the Kaiser Smolt. And this came in as well. And the Smolt is kind of similar if you look. I mean, what I mean similar is that they both have a very neutral handle. Back handle shape is very similar. Now, obviously, on the Militar, you've got the finger choil right there. And on the Smolt, it's just a straight. But the Smolt is so great for pocket dropping and just a great everyday EDC. And you've got actually better jimping on the Smolt than you do the Militar. It actually just grabs your finger better. And this one was on sale, and this is in a 3V steel. So this is in a good steel, really good steel. And the first thing I did with that was I went with this. I found these clips on Amazon. I don't even know what the brand name is, but these were really cheap. They came like 6 in a pack for like $5. And they work really well if you don't want to spend the money on an ulti clip. They actually grab in my pocket and hold this in place. So, but yeah, that's the Smolt 3V. Can't beat that, I don't think. I think it's fantastic. Like I said, to me, it's the little brother of the Militar. Now, when all the Kaiser stuff came in, they shipped it with this little pry bar. This is the new Kaiser pry. What's cool about this, one, you've got the G10 here. Oh yeah, 3V is a really good steel. Yes, it's not your it's probably like if you put like MagnaCut and those steels up in the top tier, 3V falls right in behind that. It's if you look at like D2, say as a D2 and 14 C28 as good budget steels, and then you move up to the next level and you have like Nitro V and 154 and that sort of thing. And then you move up a little bit over that. That's where your 3V is going to be, right up in there. So it's a really good steel, But getting back to, so they sent the pry bar with it. You got this as a freebie when you ordered 2 knives from Kaiser. And I actually did order those directly from Kaiser. What's nice about this could replace, I'm thinking this might replace my current pry bar. See, in my pocket all the time, I've shown you this before, there's always my little Swiss Army knife, the SD Classic, And then I have this pry bar. Okay. The reason why, and the only reason why I carry one of these is for the tweezers. See if we can get that back in there. And the toothpick. That is really the only reason why I actually carry one of these. So with that being said, and then of course this is the pry bar. You know, it's just a basic pry bar. This one does have the ever ratcheting ability. I don't actually need that because I carry a multi-tool. You made it. Oh, that's cool. Wyvern, you're gonna have to show me that at some point. But what makes this really cool is if you look on the back, you've got a ruler in millimeters and inches. That's actually very clear and easy to read. Okay, you've got these little nonsensical, the little nonsensical wrench right there that nobody ever really uses, but you could if you needed to in a pinch. Then you've got your pry bar, right? Nail, you know, your nail puller, your pry bar, and your bottle opener. But here's the cool thing. Built into this pry bar is a toothpick, right? I'll put that back in. And I can get it out the other side. And then on the other side is a set of tweezers. So this one tool can do what both of these do together. So I'm going to probably start carrying this and just lighten my load a little bit. You know, yes, these don't weigh a lot, but two of them together, and this actually is much lighter than either one of those separately. So not bad. Kaiser, I think, did a really nice job with that. Oh, let's look down and see what else is on the table. All right. So a few weeks ago, Rolf Robertson won the giveaway where I gave away the Flissa. Well, I like that knife so much that after I used it for the giveaway and gave it away, I was like, I want that knife again. So I went out and bought another one. And this is Flissa's version of a Vanker lock. You've got the push button pivot lock right there, or a Vanker lock. This is such a great knife. The blade on this is sick. I was cutting with it before, so I got stuff on it. But the blade on this is sick. The G10 handles are ridiculously grippy. You've got that aluminum backspacer with the matching pivot collar. It's such a great knife. Really a great knife. And they dropped, right now, the green colorway is on sale on Amazon. Usually these are around 30 bucks, but I think right now the green version, this one, is on sale for 25. So if you are looking to get it, now's a nice time to grab it. And you've got that, you know, your traditional flipper, but then you got that front flipper, which is really small, but works really well. So now it is a D2 steel blade, but I don't have a problem with that, you know. But that Vanker lock, pivot, you know, push button pivot lock, whatever you want to call it, is just fantastic. And I heard Rolf talking about this. I know he likes it. Yeah, exactly. Now, like I said, these are normally 30, but right now this particular color is on sale. Now they do make this with a pink backspacer and a pink around the pivot. So if you have a young lady in your life who likes pink, you can get her one. Or if you just happen to like pink, like if you're into 80s metal like I am. So they also make it with just a silver pivot and a silver backspacer. So you do have some nice choices on that. But I had to get that back because I really liked it a lot. And I was like, you know, I was like, Rolf got a good knife there. I was like, and I want it again. So, yep, I was there when Rolf was talking it up. Yep, absolutely. He's right. It's a great knife, you know. Yeah, exactly. KR Knives. Now, speaking of Flissa, Flissa just sent me, well, let me rephrase that. They shipped out 2 knives that I asked them that I wanted to review. The One arrived today, which I didn't even know they had shipped it yet. They said, it was shipping soon, but they never actually told me. It showed up today. And that's this little guy. This is a Flissa. This is a thumb hole deployable. This is a small knife. This is a 3-finger knife, but you do have the beautiful finger choil right there, so you could choke up and get all 4 fingers on there. Amazing jimping on top. It's a liner lock, right? Again, they're relatively minor branding. Nothing on the blade, just the Flissa F, which they turn sideways to represent the mountains on the pivot. And of course, they do always throw Flissa on the clip. It's the only thing I wish they would not do. But for me, I have so many of these clips just in black that I could probably just replace it. But it doesn't bother me like it does some people. Yes, everybody, if anybody's got a channel, put it in the chat. And if you have a channel and you want to show it off, just let me know. I will make you a mod so you can put your channel link up there. So on the edge, I can do that for you right now. Hold on. Hold on, my friend. You are a moderator. You now have a wrench. You have been wrenched. Robert Willoughby, what's up? What's up? So we've got 53 people here and 42 likes. That means some of you have not hit that thumbs up. So come on, people, smash that. Kelly's Mismash. Hello. Welcome in, my friend. Kelly's Mismash, the mama bear of our community. Anybody who knows Kelly, she's awesome. We all love Kelly. And if you have any paracord needs, reach out to Kelly. She does such amazing work. But, all right, so let's get back to this Flissa. Just a great little design. Now, I had gifted one of these to Dave Burge, Dave from El Paso. He had written a column on it. Me and him become friends, and I sent this to him as a gift because I know he likes small knives, and he absolutely loves this. So when Flissa reached out to me a couple weeks ago and wanted to work together again, I said, they asked what knives I'd want, and I was like, well, I want this one. And there's another one that's on the way that is a newer knife for them that I've not seen before, so that's going to be cool once that comes in. Ed Gordon, welcome to the Adventurers Guild. You get a lightsaber salute. And I know the lightsaber salute could look a little hokey, but it's fun and way more fun and less annoying than the kazoo. I know I tease you guys every week with the kazoo, and it's not a shot at Rob. I love Rob, but him with the kazoo sometimes just makes me laugh. Way less bad, yeah. So let's keep moving along because there's a lot to show tonight. So we got the Flissa, we got that, we got that, we got that. Okay, so the next one was a Whatnot purchase that I purchased because I loved the handle. But there's more than meets the eye. And that's this guy. Look at that beautiful 80s camel carbon handle. Look at that. This is a buckshot knife. This is a total lie. That, even though it looks like 80s camel carbon, is not. It's just a bad veneer. No. There won't be kazoos on this channel. I just happen to have a kazoo there and was teasing everybody a few weeks ago saying, if you guys got out of hand, I'd play the kazoo. But, so this is not real camel carbon. Now, it has the look of it, but what it doesn't do, it does not glow under UV. But it's still kind of a cool knife. It's a buckshot. Buckshots are cheap knives. They're, for the most part, gas station knives. But I have a few of them that are more normal looking, and it's not bad. It's a liner lock. It is assisted opening, so That's not going to be for everybody. But it does flick out and deploy nice. It is pretty sharp. I mean, blade shape's not bad, you know? And it does look kind of cool. But it doesn't compare to a real 80s camo carbon. Actually, hold on. I'll show you what I mean. All right. All right. So that is that's my Jack Wolf. And that is a real 80s camo carbon. Now, when you do this, and we will temporarily, actually, I could probably show it anyway. I don't know what's going to show. But if you hit it with the UV light, which is not on, what's going on here? Oh, you know what? My battery just died. I got to recharge that one. So let's go grab another UV flashlight. All right. You know, because there's just lights sitting everywhere. All right. So let's put this in UV. And you can kind of see how that glows with the UV light on it. You know, you take that off, you put the UV, and you can see all the camo carbon in its glory under the UV light. Now, if you take this one and you shine the UV light on it, nothing happens. It doesn't change. Those don't glow. And that's because it's just a camo carbon veneer. But still, for what I paid for it, this was on one of those dollar and go auctions, and I paid $5 for it. So it does kind of look cool though. Now, let's put that down. And we'll move on. We will move on. Next up. So this one had come in, and this is a knife you know I've shown on the channel. Not this particular one, but I've shown variations of this at least 2 times before. And this is the Beef by Flytanium. But this is the version 2.0 with your upgraded steel. Instead of D2, it's the 14C28N. And all the hardware on this is T8 instead of T6. So this to me is just one of the most perfect knives around. And this may or may not be making an appearance in my top knives of 2025 video. By the way, there'll be at least 2-3 best of videos coming out. You're going to have a best of 2025 fixed blade edition, best of 2025 flipper or a folding knife edition, not necessarily flipper. I shouldn't say folding knife edition. And then you're going to have a best of 2025 flashlight edition. So, because there are a lot of new flashlights that came out this year, there's a lot of new knives, and a lot of new, you know. Thomas Wheeler, hello there. I didn't see you come in. Thank you for being here, buddy. Yeah, the Beef is great. And as I have with the other Beefs, sitting here ready to go. Sitting here ready to go. Beef parts, there we go. All ready to be installed because I want to make the Beef premium. Titanium scales, S90V blade, and skiff bearings. So we're going to change this ordinary Beef to a premium Beef, which I've already done on one of my Beefs. So I have the red version of Beef. That's my favorite as far as the looks go, with the blacked out handle, the red thumb stud, and then the red handles. That is just a sweet looking knife, you know. No, the video's backwards. The video's backwards because I'm using my phone as the camera, because it's just easier for me to do that. Like for instance, that sign, even though it reads correctly, is actually backwards if you're looking at it in real life. You know, same thing with the subscribe sign. where if you look at my shirt, the words are backwards. So, and this is one of my favorite Christmas shirts. I bought this last year, and it's got the Grinch beating up Santa Claus, and it says Seasons Beatings. This was actually purchased from Pro Wrestling Tees. So, this was their limited edition Christmas shirt from last year. Yes, check out Rolf's channel. Definitely. Speaking of channels, let's talk about our own little channel right here. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, we had another spike in membership, which we typically get each month. We're actually averaging, according to the analytics, it said we're averaging about the same amount of subs as we do normally. So with that being said, we are this close to 3,000 subs. We passed 28,100. I'm sorry, 28,000 would be a dream. We passed 2,800 subs. We passed 2,900. We are, how many, if I remember right? We are 63 subs away from 3K. And when we have 3K, I've got knives sitting there ready to be given away. So thank you, Ever. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a cool shirt. Definitely cool. So we may, for everybody who's not subscribed, definitely subscribe. Would appreciate that. But we may hit 3,000 by the first of the year, which I said was a long shot, but we're this close. So I've been trying to pump the channel out through my Facebook, which I've got like 4,000 friends on Facebook between my paranormal stuff that I do and my music stuff and everything. And just, I've been pumping that out there finally, because I really didn't talk about, the channel that much on my Facebook, even though there's a Facebook page dedicated to it. 294, perfect. Thanks, Ginger Fisher, for the update. Dylan Mallory, hello there. By the way, Dylan Mallory has a drop coming up on Kickstarter. And you should definitely go there. His new knife is going to be fire. It hasn't launched yet, but you can go sign up to get notified about his Kickstarter. Definitely go there. Dylan, if you want, please put the link to the Kickstarter in the chat. I'm waiting for that notification because, I was backer number 1 for the new NAFS knife that's coming out, the OCT. I was backer number 1 for the TKL knife that's coming out. So I have it on alert. I'm going to try and be backer number 1 for Dylan's knife. I take great pleasure in being number 1, being the first backer. So, Dan Stan, hello there. Welcome in, my friend. How you doing, buddy? So that would be cool. But definitely, yeah, Dylan, definitely, please put the link in there. Yeah, there you go. Because that's going to be an awesome knife. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, no worries, Dylan. Oh, so for those of you who don't know, Dylan is like myself. He's a huge Kiss fan. So I have decided on Christmas Eve, I'm going to do a show on Christmas Eve, either 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I'll let everybody know. I decided that I wanted to go on Christmas Eve. And only because, one, I'm going to be done with my festivities, and I'm just going to be sitting around bored. And I figure I'll jump on. And if anybody has nothing to do Christmas Eve, or you're tired of dealing with the family, or you're just going to be by yourself and want someone to hang out with, Christmas Eve, come hang out. It'll be fun. But that night, I will be wearing my Kiss Christmas sweater. So look out for that. But it'll be a wonderful Kissmas, I promise. But William Hornbostel, I don't know if I said hello to you. If I didn't, hello there. Glad you're here. So let's move on to the next bunch of knives, because again, there's a lot to see. So the next one is a company that I found recently who makes traditional knives, but they're really an apparel company who makes knives as a secondary project, Now No, Brian White. No, hello there. What, a couple of months ago when I came on, I had my Ace Frehley shirt and my Ace Frehley glasses. But that's the closest you're gonna get to me in makeup. I haven't done the makeup in years, you know. But the company I found, going back to that, and Brian White, welcome into the chat. I appreciate you, brother. Glad you're here. All right. So the company I found, again, they're a company that is an apparel company, but also has a division of knives. And the company is called um, the, what is it again? Yes, it's the Whiskey Bent Hat Company. And Whiskey Bent Hat Company makes a line of traditional knives under their Whiskey Bent Knife Company. So this is one of them. And this knife is fire. Look at that. Look at that blue and green colorway. Absolutely love that. It's a lockback. Really cool looking. Blade steel on this is a 440C, which is not bad for a traditional kind of knife. But look at that. Oh, well, I run a paranormal investigative team here in New Jersey called East Coast Ghost, EKG, which periodically you will see someone from my team in the chat as East Coast Ghost. I think they were here earlier. I have done paranormal investigating for years, and since going on over 20 years of it, I have investigated all the up and down the East Coast, out to the West Coast. I've done probably over 200 investigations. I've seen stuff, you know, stuff I can't explain. I'm not one of those like crazy, I believe everything in the world is a ghost. No, I probably have about $10,000 in scientific equipment that we go in with. We're not one of those people that goes in and says, "Oh, I see a ghost." No, when we investigate, we investigate. Um, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. Oh, I live in Jersey, William. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, but I've been in Jersey now for 20 years. So I was living in Pennsylvania, and I met my wife on the internet, and she's a Jersey girl, and I wound up moving to Jersey, and I've been here ever since, and I absolutely love it. I live in the northwest corner of Jersey. I'm in Sussex County, so I'm in farmland. I'm not in rural New Jersey. I'm more rural New Jersey, not urban New Jersey. So, but that's a whole nother story. I don't know if I'll be getting to Alaska anytime soon, Cliff. But yeah. Oh, I didn't know that, Wyvern. You're from Jersey too? That's awesome. We got a bunch of people from Jersey. But check that out. That colorway is really cool. So I wound up getting this one. I actually wound up getting two of these. On the Edge EDC with a $10 super chat. Thank you for your generosity. You, my friend, thank you so much. You get a phaser salute because we mix Star Trek and Star Wars here all the time. Nice. Thank you so much. Thomas, EDC Gates. I didn't realize you were from Jersey. We've got a bunch of us from Jersey. Neil McKenzie is formerly of New Jersey. You know, it's funny. I grew up in New York, Neil. I'm the same way. I feel like you can never take the New York out of me, but I have come to love New Jersey. I really have. It's such a great place. But getting back to this one, again, this is the Whiskey Bent Knife Company. It's a lockback. You know, I will say one thing. The locks on these are really, really tight in a good way. You're not going to accidentally press it and open it. But just a nice looking knife. But when I was buying that one, the seller had another one that he offered me really cheap. Take a look at that one. It's got that kind of beech wood under resin. That's right, Barbie's from New Jersey as well. And check this out. Really cool. But this one had a blem. And you'll never see the blem. At least in my opinion. You have to look at it at an angle, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it. Right there, you can see it slightly. See right there, that little discoloration? That's in the resin. Because this was a blem, the seller sold it to me when I bought the other one for $2. So I went for it right away. I was like, that's awesome. So just really cool looking. So these are really nice. And they make, like I said, a whole line of traditional knives, you know, and kind of cool. Very sharp too, you know. The boxes are kind of cool looking too. Nothing that the, you know, it's a box, but as you can kind of see, they come in, you know, they come in these boxes, and just like any other traditional knife, they have it wrapped in butcher paper on the inside. These come with a lifetime warranty, which is cool. And it's whiskeybentknives.com. So if you're interested in checking those out. All right, let's move on, because there's more. And when I say there's more, there's no kazoo coming. Trust me, no kazoo. Well, let's look around the table. What else? What else? What else is here? What else is here? Speaking of whatnot, I got this little guy. I got a Spyderco here that I got for $1 and go. I got it for $5. And this is the Spyderco H1 Ladybug. So this is part of the Salt series. This is a fully serrated, which I wanted. These sell for about $60. I picked it up for $5. It's in just about perfect condition. And again, this is the Spyderco. It's the H1. It was in $1 and go auction. You can really get some great deals on Whatnot. You also got to be careful, because there are sellers on Whatnot who will take like this buckshot knife and they'll be like, oh, these things retail for $50, but I'll sell it to you now for like $25, which is just total nonsense. You know, I sometimes wonder where these people are getting their prices from, you know? Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why I wanted the serrated, I like having a little serrated in my fishing tackle box. And this one being the Salt series, being the H1 steel, H1 is virtually rust proof. So it's great for having in the tackle box, you know. And it's like a Spyderco. I mean, you've got your jimping right there. It's a little 3-finger knife, but I added just a little lanyard on it just to give me a little bit more extension so I can hold on to it, you know. Oh my God, Coin Silver, you are so right on that. Like, I was watching Whatnot for TCal about a week ago, and people are paying double of what you could get a TCal for. Now, I know some people would be like, well, that's because people don't want to wait 6 months, but they're also doing it with NAFs. NAFs that are fully stocked in the shop, they're paying like 3 times the amount that you would pay. I don't get it, you know. I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't understand. And I think sometimes some of these people who are on Whatnot may not be knife people. They're just jumping in there and they're buying knives and they're overpaying. You know, I was watching one guy yesterday, and he was selling a CJRB Pyrite Light. And he was telling everybody in the chat, these things retail for $50. And I'm like, no, you can actually go to, right now, they're on sale on Amazon for $27.99. And usually they're $29.99 all day long, you know? But people just, they eat it up like you know, like it's drugs, man. He's not, Matt, he's not necessarily stepping away. They're stepping away from doing the NAFs at night, but you're still going to have the Ben Banter stuff where he's on the road and doing the stuff. I mean, here's the problem. Ben's getting too busy. I don't know if you saw the announcement. They're closing their retail shop. There's no longer going to be a retail shop out there which to me sucks because I really wanted to go out to the retail shop this year, you know. But they announced they're closing it because they're they're a small company and they just don't have the time. Honestly speaking, when they had to ship out the little Lulus, which the little Lulu is their first in-house, fully American-made knife. Um, with that being said, they had to work like 3 days of like 16-hour shifts to get all those knives shipped out from the Kickstarter because their crew is so small and they had to pull all hands into shipping, you know? So they don't necessarily have the staff. And Keith, who hand presses and does all the sharpening and hand presses the sheaths, he was running the retail store as well. And they can't, now that they're doing all that production in-house, they need him to shift over to there. So they're closing the retail space, which kind of sucks, but yeah, yes, 100%, definitely knife sharks on there who are reselling stuff for way more than it should be. Are we on? Oh, I think the battery's dead on the hat. Oh well. No more light show on the hat. It lasted an hour, basically. It's amazing to me what, but then again, like I like watching some of the guys who have literally boxes of used knives and they're just pulling them. They're doing buck and goes, That's how I've been getting some of these bargains, like this one. I showed off a couple weeks ago where I got, the Kershaw Emerson, and I got the K-Bar Dozer, and I got those dirt cheap, And most of the time they're in good shape. This one, the only thing I had to do with it was when it showed up, it was dirty. Like it was dirty, like someone was handling it with dirty hands. So first thing I did was I cleaned this up totally, And so there was that. Next up on the agenda, we're getting into the home stretch here as far as knives go, and then we'll talk some other stuff. So, on Monday, this arrived, and this is a knife by Six Leaf. Look at that. Look at that harpoon blade. This is 14C28N blade steel. It is a button lock. Stupidly fidgety. It's only got a thumb stud deployment, no flipper, so it's nice smooth lines on that. You've got the deep carry clip that is reversible, really cool. Aluminum scales, sounds great. Blade shape's kind of sick. Yeah, this is just a sweet knife. And these come in at, I want to say around $60, but they were on sale. They were on sale, and and of course everybody's got their White Mountain Knives discount code, whether you use DVD, whether you use Lefty EDC. Everybody's got one. Big Red. Everybody's got one. I don't have one yet because I haven't actually applied for one yet, which I should. But look at that. Full 4-finger grip. Really comfortable. Only thing is there's no jimping. But because of the harpoon and the way, actually, if you look here, the way this is raised slightly, it's almost like a double harpoon. It comes up over the stud, goes back down and comes up. So you can comfortably put your thumb right there, even without jimping, and kind of be held in place. And then you can reach up really far on the harpoon. Like I said, full 4-finger. Sharpening choil's not bad on it. Which brings me to another point, and I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here. So many knife reviewers. Yes, White Mountain. For me, White Mountain Knives is the go-to place to order knives. They don't necessarily carry every brand like some of the other places do, but if they carry the brands you want, it's always free shipping with them, and they ship fast. I generally will order, and within 2 days, I have my order from them. Now, mind you, I only live like 3 states away from them, but their turnaround is so fast, Oh, and by the way, look at that backspacer on there. Really nice. Highly recommend this one. You know, and because of the milling on the side, it's really grippy. You know, some aluminum becomes very slick. This is actually one that you'll be able to hold on to. So I like it. Ultra fidgety. The lock system, solid. No side to side, no up and down. You know, they don't always get plunge locks correct on a lot of brands, but this one did it. You know, and what I love, right there, their logo. That's the only branding on the whole knife. There's nothing on the clip, nothing on the blade. The only thing you have here is just where it says the blade steel. So this one to me is a win. Oh yeah, definitely Wyvern, 100%, 100%. Yeah, and the worst company you could ever order from is Chicago Knife Works. They are just a horror show. Not because they like are sneaky or anything, but they take forever to ship. When I order from them, generally it takes about 3 weeks to get to me because they usually wait about 2 weeks to ship, and then it takes me about another week from Chicago to get to where I am in New Jersey. They are the absolute worst, and every time I've had problems with them, which is I've ordered from them 3 times. 3 times I had the same problem where I had to contact them and say, "Hey, when are you shipping?" And then mysteriously I get a shipping notice like after I contact them. So I don't kind of like that crap, but that's a whole nother story. Now, the next three knives all come in from a company who I just started collaborating with. But you've seen them on my channel many times, and that is 704 Gear. So that's the 704 Gear Urban Scout. That's their old logo. G10 D2 steel, very reminiscent of the Mini Praxis. You know, liner lock. These knives are built really well. And like I said, great in the hand. But again, this to me is very similar to a Mini Praxis. So in style, feel. But I've always loved 704 Gear. I have like 5 of their knives. And what had happened was Brian over there had seen that I had done several videos with their stuff. And I had been talking to him for a while. And we had talked about definitely collaborating. But then he had a problem with he wanted to wait till the new knives were out to do a collaboration. And yeah, no, it's exactly this one. And this one, all right, from what I am to understand, this design, even though it's pretty much, I want to say, a clone of the Mini Praxis, was they licensed this to 704. So, you know. Yes, that is a disc golf disc. That one is hand signed by Eagle McMahon. So if you follow the Pro Disc Golf Tour, Eagle's one of the top players, and that one actually glows in the dark. So when I leave the studio at night and shut everything down, that thing glows like and lights up like half the room. It's pretty cool, you know. But yeah, 704 is great. Like I said, I owned, like I said, 5 knives. I had already done videos to them, and I've been talking to Brian back and forth for a while, and he wanted to collaborate, but they didn't have anything new. And he was like, "Well, I don't want to, do anything now. We'll do it when new stuff comes out." And then I was talking to him, and they got hit with shipping delays, big time. So, you know, Old Metal Monster, hello there. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. So, let's show you what's new on the table from them. Their new knives finally hit, and Brian said, "All right, I'm going to send you some stuff." And he sent some stuff, including this one. This is the older design, but he sent 2 of these that are going to be used in giveaways. So that's cool. I already have this knife. Again, I have this knife already. So he sent 2. He said to use them for giveaways. So eventually these will be in giveaways. So that's kind of cool. Thank you, Brian, 704. But this is their new, one of their new knives. And I am really bad with remembering the knife names. So let me just grab, because I got the boxes right here. This is it's the Mantis. So this is the Mantis. This is one of their new knives. This is part of their new button lock series. I had done a short video on this earlier in the week. Okay. Look at the pivot. They changed the logo. Apparently some people didn't like the 704 on the pivot collar. I personally didn't mind it. I thought it was a great way to identify their company. 704 gear. Well, now they just have the gear. At first, I didn't think I like it, but I come to really love it now that I've seen it in person. I think that was the problem. I had seen it online and wasn't crazy about the design. And then when I saw it, I was like, no, that looks way better in person than it does. So yes, this is a thumb stud deployable. Look at that blade. Look at the size of this knife. Now, all their new knives now are 14C28N blade steel. So no more D2. Deep carry clip. See that? That is fully reversible. Place for a lanyard. This is black micarta. Really feels good. I like micarta. It's a button lock. It is a plunge lock, but lockup is solid. No left or right, no up and down. Stupidly fidgety. You can just press the button and deploy it. You can thumb stud it. Really nice. And it's a decent sized knife compared to, their, the Urban Ranger. But you kind of get the idea of the size of this. Now, the next knife they sent, which I really like as well, is their new Dynamo. And that's this guy. In that beautiful lime green. Look at that. Again, thumb stud deployable, right? Button lock. That lime green with the black accents looks so freaking cool. What steel is better on the knife? Well, this is a 1428N blade steel, where their older models were all D2. And a lot of people, even though I think D2 is an excellent steel, for some people who live in areas where it's damp or they're out in water a lot, the D2, if you don't maintain it by keeping it oiled, can rust, where you're going to have much better corrosion resistance with the 14C28N blade steel. Now they make this one in, I believe, blue and black as well. And it's like a bright blue, very similar to the blue on that Kaiser pry bar. But again, another one, rock solid, no movement, and doesn't glow in the dark. Doesn't glow in the dark. But one knife that shows up next week is going to glow in the dark. And I'll show you that in the next show. So, but really nice. I like their stuff. I really do. And if you look where the plunge grind ends and the sharpening choil begins. You'll get plenty of sharpenings out of this. Oh, by the way, that's where I want to get. I was going off topic before, and I'm going to talk about that. We as knife YouTubers, we often talk about the sharpening choil and the plunge grind. And I'm going to be honest with you. I talk about it. And who I'm talking to about it are the other knife nerds like myself. I could think that probably 75% of the people who are watching knife videos don't care about the plunge grind and are never actually going to sharpen their knives. In my opinion. From everybody I've spoken to, yes, there are some people who are hardcore knife people and they're going to sharpen their blades, but most people aren't. Most people are just going to touch up their blades periodically, or they're going to strop them or hit them with a ceramic honing rod. But most people, in my opinion, don't care. And I always just touch on it, but there are certain YouTubers and again, this is not an offense because every YouTuber is different. Everybody does their thing, and so many people do it well. So many people do it better than I do. But there's certain YouTubers who harp on that plunge grind, and they'll spend 5 minutes talking about it in a video. I'm like, okay, I get it. You don't like the plunge grind. Bleh. So I think the plunge talking about the plunge grind for a small minority of the people, it means something. But for like 75% of people, I don't think it means a damn thing. So I would never let a plunge grind stop me from buying a knife. Whether it's done well or not. It's probably the smallest detail that I don't even worry about. But I will touch on it because I know there are people who do care. It's just for me, they'll make a big difference. I mean, and obviously I'm in a different situation. You guys know I have a crap ton of knives, and I carry a different knife every day. I very rarely ever use the same knife twice. So with that being said, I don't do much sharpening. I do have my work sharp sharpener that I started using recently that works really well. Chef's kiss to that. And I've also been using this guy that I showed a few weeks ago for some other stuff. This is actually really cool. Let's get there under the table. So this is that Gordon sharpening system that has your starts, you've got 200 grit, 300 grit, 400 grit, 600 grit diamond stones. And it locks right into that base, and this is an anti-slip, so you can just go along. And then I bought this, which is the Sharpel, the angle guide. So what you basically do is you pull this up, and then you set it to whatever angle you want. So let's just say we want to do 20 degrees. You set it for 20 degrees, right? And then you take it, and you take your knife, and it's magnetic. And it just sits on the blade. And then you just follow the level and make sure you're running that level as you pull it across the sharpener, and that will keep you at the right angle. It stays on there. It doesn't come off. And these things are great. And these things are like, I don't know, $8, But that in conjunction, with this sharpening stone setup is fantastic. But of course, the the combo sharpener, works really good because I just plug it in. The guides are already set up. I zip, and we're done. And then of course I have my work sharp field sharpeners. But I just think people worry way too much about the plunge grind. Another thing I think people worry way too much about. All right, I'm going to rephrase that. One problem I have with certain YouTubers, and it doesn't mean they're bad at doing their job or whatever. There are a couple YouTubers out there who will sit there, open up a knife, and then not know the specs on it. You're literally a YouTuber. Your job is to do the review and do just a 5-minute research, even if it's just to take a couple of notes down. So that way when you get into the video, you know what steel it is. I've heard them sit there and go, well, I think this could be this steel or that steel, or it could sell for, I don't know, maybe this sells for $70. I don't know. I don't know the pricing. Dude, seriously. It's a 5-second search on the internet to find out what the price is, what the blade steel is. And it blows my mind, but there are YouTubers who just, it's frustrating. And they're YouTubers I like. That's the scary part, because I think they do a great job. Ever see? Yep. Okay. Thank you. Matt. Yep. I'm not saying names, but yes. It just blows my mind. Like, and I'm just a little channel. I'm clawing my way into this. Joe, you have a great night, and hopefully I get to see you on Christmas Eve. If not, we'll do this again next Sunday. And have a great Christmas. Neil McKenzie with the super chat, $2. Thank you, Neil. You get a Phaser, salute. Phaser set to stun. And now phaser set to kill. Thank you, Neil. Appreciate your generosity. So those are just two things that bug me. And then the last one is there are some YouTube. I am like very Italian today. My Italian starts coming out. I'm talking with my hands a lot. They're like moving all over the place, and must be like the 50 cups of coffee I've drank today. You know, I have way too much energy. But it's 11:18, so we've got plenty of time. So one of the other things that drives me nuts. Kevin Smith and Knives, hello there. I did not see you in here. Welcome in. Paul Mills, hello there. Channel member. I don't think I said hello to you. But welcome in. I appreciate it. One of the things that really bugs me is that some YouTube people, not all, have never left their basement, and it's all they do is reviews. And I say, when I say that, I mean just never leave the house. And they're reviewing knives that they don't actually use in the real world. They get them on the desk, they open them up, you know. Paul Mills, member for 2 months, you get a lightsaber salute. And then we'll get back to my rant. Well, one of the things I will tell you, ever, is that some of the big channels get sent so many knives that they can't even keep up. So I don't even mean that. Like that doesn't bother me. Like I get it. You know, they get literally one of the YouTubers who I talk to, you know, who's pretty friendly. They what you call it? They will get literally 100 knives a week sent to them from all these different companies, and they can only do so many videos, you know. So I get that part. It's a little hard for the really big channels to keep up. I get that. That's not really what I'm talking about. But what drives me nuts is like people who don't actually use it. And I get it, because there's a difference between the type of uses. Before even EDC, I'm an outdoors person. I'm a camper, I'm a hiker, I'm a fisherman, you know. So I have used knives out in the field for years. You know, knives are not a new game to me. I'm 55 years old. I've been carrying knives since I was a teenager, and I have taken knives camping. So when I look at knives, I see certain things that I notice right away, you know, that maybe the guys who are strictly EDC don't see. One of the things that drives me bananas is that this harping on hardness of steel. There's this big thing out there where certain people, weld and carry, certain people harp on, well, you need this steel to be at this number or it's no good. Well, that's just not true. It's going to depend on what the usage is. For instance, outdoor knives that you're going to hard use, you don't want to be at a ridiculously high hardness, because that makes the knife more brittle. For EDC tasks, yes, I would want it at a much higher hardness, because you'll keep the edge retention more, but it does make the knife more brittle. Where if I'm taking something like this and I'm going outdoors with it and I'm going to be batoning wood, and most likely, even though I'm not supposed to, I'm going to be using it as a pry bar, and I'm going to be sticking it into things, you know, and I'm going to be using it all kinds of ways where I'm not using an EDC knife that way. I don't want this at that hardness level. One, I want it easy to sharpen, because out in the field, you're going to be sharpening a lot more if you're using it. And I don't want it to be brittle. You know, the one thing they never talk about, yeah, you'll get a great edge retention, but you're more likely to chip an edge on a harder knife, on a high hardness knife. And that's what people don't talk about, because I feel that a lot of the people who do reviews don't look at knives as outdoor things. They only look at them from the EDC point of view, you know. EDCKO10, channel member for a month. You get a lightsaber salute. Awesome. Thank you for being a channel member. I appreciate that. Yeah, you know, Thomas, you're right. Carbon steel for outdoors is probably better for that, you know. But you know, or in the case of like, you know, I'm going to give you one. There's this big push on why MagnaCut needs to be between 62 and 65 on the hardness. But here's the reality. If you go to, I don't even know if it's up at this point because I don't know what happened with Crucible's website. But a year ago, if you went to Crucible's website and was still up, the recommended hardness that they had for their steel was between 58 and 60. Yet every YouTuber wants to tell you how you need it to be at 62 to 65 because it does better. Yeah, it does better in the EDC world. But again, if I'm outdoors and I'm out there using it, especially like the new Gerber the Strong Arm, which they just released a new version of it in MagnaCut, I don't want that as hard. Again, because I'm going to be hard using that, you know? No, and there's, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a package warrior. Everybody uses their knives differently, and I get that. But I think to definitively sit there and say it needs to be here is not always accurate. You know what I mean? It really depends on the usage. And I think that really needs to be out there, you know? But a good old leaf spring. You know, it's funny. I was just watching Lakeside. I was just watching a guy who took a bunch of leaf springs, you know, forged them into a Damascus, you know, sword. And it's amazing when I watch this stuff, you know? But all right, I'm off on that tangent, you know. And mind you, that's nothing against any of the YouTubers because I watch them all and I think they're all fantastic and so many of them have influenced me, so it's nothing against them. But I think like one of the guys I really respect, real quick, is Gideon's Tactical. Aaron from Gideon's Tactical gets out there and he uses the damn knives and puts them through hard use, you know. But thank you, Ramses, for that. I appreciate you posting that in there. So we got 58 people watching, 57 likes. I could deal with that. That's really cool. It's 11:23. In a little bit, we'll start talking about the giveaway. We have a Christmas giveaway, but there's still a couple more knives on the table that I don't think I went over yet. This thing that I'm going to show you. Oh, yeah, I'm going to save the best for last. But this thing in this pouch is the goofiest knife I have ever seen. And I won this as a prize in a whatnot. It was a followers giveaway. Let's show you what this thing is. This is not a batarang, although that's what it reminds me of. This is a double-bladed bat knife by a company called Titan Targets. So, if you like Batman, and I love my Batman, this is really cool. But I can't even figure out how you're supposed to hold this without damaging yourself. Like, the guy on the video was showing it like this, holding it kind of like that. But what's the purpose of that? I mean, other than maybe trying to punch somebody and cut them, but, you know, what I think this would actually work well as, because this would work well as an axe head. You could split a piece of wood, press that down into there, and then lash it, and you've got a hatchet, you know? But yeah, it's definitely pokies all the way around. But I won this, so it's like, it's kind of cool. It came with this leather pouch, and it's actually real leather. It's, you know, it's decent, but I don't understand the purpose behind this. Like I said, I would probably throw this in one of my, I don't know if it'll throw very easy because you can't, it's hard to grab where you're not going to cut yourself trying to throw it, you know? I mean, yeah, see, I guess you could kind of hold it like that and throw it, but I would just be afraid of that coming up because it is really sharp. It is very sharp, you know? But I think I would actually use this. Like I said, take a log, small log, split it, baton it, split it, insert this down, lash it, and then you've got a small hatchet. You know, Batman does wear gloves. You are correct. But Metal Relic Art, hello. But kind of cool, for what it is. That came. As you guys can tell, I've been talking about it a lot. I've been spending way too much time on Whatnot. Now, the last knife that came from Whatnot, there are a couple of sellers out there. The Sharp Batarang. Nice. Buzz. James McCann, hello there. Welcome in. I didn't realize you were here, but I'm glad you are. So there are a bunch of sellers. Now, they have rules on Whatnot. You can't sell automatic knives, OTFs, at all. But there are some sellers who sell them. And if you go into their Whatnot shops, they'll be listed as, instead of OTFs, they'll be listed as FTO knives. Hear me out. FTO. If you see FTO in the seller's store and it just has a question mark in a box and it says mystery FTO, what that is, it's a mystery out the front knife. Well, I decided I wanted one of those. I was like, I want to see what you get as a mystery out the front knife. And they weren't expensive. So I was like, this is probably going to be some knockoff, out the front knife. But my curiosity got the better of me. So the seller sends it. And I also won one of his giveaways, and he gave a Swiss Army Knife Classic SD as the giveaway. So that was kind of cool. Those things are like $26. So I get this box, unbranded box, and inside I get this knife, which is not an OTF. Instead, it's a good old switchblade. And it is very, very patriotic. Not necessarily what I would tote around. I have nothing against it. But you've got the switch on the front, and then, boom. It's a legit switchblade. So I contacted the seller, and I said, hey, I was like, this isn't an FTO. Instead, it's a switchblade. He told me he pulled the wrong knife. So with that being said, he's sending me the proper OTF. And a couple of reasons why I think he's doing it is, one, he didn't want me to give him a bad review. And two, I could blow up his spot knowing what the FTO means. So with that being said, I've got this switchblade now that is technically illegal where I live. It is kind of cool, and lockup's pretty cool on that. Like, it's solid lockup, no side wiggle, no up and down. I've never actually had a switchblade for it. I have automatic knives, I've got a Kalashnikov, I've got the Goliath from Tack Knives. I've got a couple of OTFs. I've got my Tack knife, this one that I love, which they're illegal. So if anybody's watching this, I'm not recording this where you think I am. I'm in Pennsylvania. So, long story short, though, I got this one. And it's weird because it pops out and it's very quiet. Like, I'm going to shut up so you could hear that. I'll put it by the mic. Quiet. Just really quiet. But the colorway is not necessarily what I would go with, but it's a cool knife for what it is. I hadn't even thought about, should I throw this in a giveaway at some point? But then I'm like, well, I don't know what the ramifications I could get in by shipping this, maybe rims. I was thinking, like I said, I was thinking about putting it into a giveaway at some point, and whoever wins it would have the option of getting it if they're in a state where it's legal, and if they're in a state where it's illegal, I could substitute something else in, sort of thing. So I may throw that in a giveaway, but you have an OTF comb? Nice. When I was a kid, I had an OTF, I'm sorry, I had a switchblade comb. And I will never forget, I went down to visit relatives in Georgia, Marietta, Georgia. Love Marietta, Georgia, by the way. Georgia's just a really nice state. And I went down there, and all these kids were fascinated because they thought I had a real switchblade. And they went and were telling my aunt and uncle, he's got a knife. And I was like, no, it's not a knife, it's a comb. But it was like freaking them out. Like they'd never seen anything. And they, of course they thought, well, you're from New York City. You must be a killer or a criminal. They were only half right. So I think that, oh, no. There's the one knife that I need to show you. And that is this guy. This was a giveaway win from G-Ball. This took forever to get to me, not because G-Ball actually sent it out on time and quickly. It just took forever with the postal service to get here. And this is the Wee Knife Mini Malice. This is blue titanium with blue hardware, right? Let's see what the blade steel is. Like, I don't remember. And I'm still not going to remember because I can't see that. But I think it's 20V steel, right? Four fingers there, and you can choke up right there in that choil. The blade is fantastic. This is really two ways to deploy it. You've got your flipper right there, and then you've got this kind of milled out section that, this fuller that you could deploy it with. This, I put the video out early this week. This is the best sounding knife I have. The acoustics on this are fantastic. And let's see. It's just amazing. Sharp as hell. And these were selling for $298. So this was a nice giveaway I got from G-Ball. And they're on clearance now because they're discontinued, but even at the clearance price, they're still $225. So this is almost a $300 knife, and he sent a nice package of swag and stuff along with it. So I really want to thank G-Ball for that. That titanium milled clip is really nice. Sometimes they're too tight. This one's just perfect. Goes right in and out of the pocket without any problems, And just fantastic. Only thing I wish it had that would have been different is I wish it had just a little jimping up here. That would have made this the perfect knife for me. Because size-wise, it's just at that 3-inch mark. It's not too small. It's not too big, Yeah, Kathleen Smith, I agree. The Whatnot knife is I'm not a big fan of it. But like I said, I wound up getting it for free now because the seller's shipping out the right one. Now, something else that did come in that I am actually carrying today is this guy. And this was Elijah Geek Machinist notified me to say that these things were on sale at Tractor Supply. This is the CRKT Biwa. Just a great little fixed blade knife. You've got amazing jimping on top. Feels great in the hand. You get a full forefinger on that. Look at that blade. Super slicey and pokey with that swedge on top. Those are G10 handles. You've got the orange underliner on that. And they look like wood, and just really great EDC knife. And these wound up being on sale. These are usually $48. They were on sale. They were doing all knives up until the other day up at 15% off. Then there was an additional. It was on sale already beyond that, and then I had a $5 off coupon for Tractor Supply. So I wound up getting this really dirt cheap and just a great little knife. And good night, Dylan. Appreciate you being here, buddy. And it's just it's what's the steel on this? It's 8CR. So it's not the greatest steel in the world, but 8CR is not a bad steel, you know. But yeah, all these Alan Foltz designs are fantastic, you know. But all right, let's see. Let's catch up on the chat because I know I fall behind on the chat. Still waiting on my sheep ball. Really? Huh. Ramses, I'd reach out to him. You know, I know he's very hard to get a hold of, but I would still reach out to him. Like I said, he got this out to be quick. It just took forever to get here. You know, because of where he lives in Pennsylvania, it has to go out towards Lancaster, and it gets routed halfway around the world before it got to me. So now, so that's the. Let me look at the table, make sure I got everything. I think I got to everything. Yes, I did. Now, mind you, it seems like a lot, but this was over 2 weeks, and some of this stuff was spur of the moment buys on whatnot, and that sort of thing. It's going to slow down greatly now. There's a couple more things coming, I think, next week, and we'll see what Santa Claus brings as well. But going into the new year, I will not be buying knives like I did this year. My plan is, where I was buying multiple knives every week, my plan is to buy one a month. That's it, just one. And I've got so many knives that I have to do reviews on, catch up, old stuff too, that what I find sometimes when I drop a review of a knife that's older, it seems to get picked up and get some good traction. Because sometimes people are still looking to buy these knives, and they don't want to look at a review from like 4 years ago or 3 years ago, so they try to find a newer one. So that seems to help sometimes, Yeah, I don't know, Ramses. Maybe mention it on the live streams, although he hasn't had a live stream in like 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on there, but, it is Christmas time and he's got kids and whatnot. So I don't know if that's just all catching up to him or what the deal is, but he hasn't been live the last 2 weeks. But all right. So, like I said, the plan is next year not to buy the knives like I did. I'm basically going to do older stuff, or like I said, I'm going to do one better knife a month as opposed to trying to do 15 knives, because there's just so many knives now. It's out of hand. In fact, I'm thinking about doing a whatnot and selling like half the collection off. Recoup some of that money. But that's neither here nor there. That's a whole different plan. So next year is going to be a little slowed down. We're still going to put out the same amount of content, if not more, but it's just going to be different. I've got so many knives that came in that I didn't even review that still need to be done, as well as other equipment and whatnot. I still have people, companies sending me things. So there's going to be a lot still going on, Oops. Paul, I have a question for you when it comes to wanting to buy mostly USA made knives. My question is, why? And I know I'm not talking about to support the economy or support local businesses, but the quality in USA made knives isn't there, or at least at the price points. Yes, you can get some good USA made knives, like the new Buck knife that came out this year, the Magna Cut one. They also had the lower price one. I mean, you're talking about $225. You could get basically that same knife from one of the other overseas manufacturers that's a better built knife and get it for $60 less. And I get trying to support, but I just can't. In my head, I can't just justify it. You know. Now, if you like them, that's a different story. Like I love my Kershaw Bel Air, USA made. I love my Bug Out. You know, I do have a bunch of American made knives. So that's not to say there's anything wrong with them, but I'm more selective about it because I just feel like you're paying a premium, and in some cases, the premium is more for the little butterfly on the blade than it is for the quality. The butterfly tax, which I'm not anti Benchmade, by the way. I have Benchmade. In fact, I got a giant Benchmade flag sitting over there. It needs to be hung at some point. But, you know, yeah, yeah. I mean, on the edge, yes, definitely. That's just the way it is. You wind up with too much, you know. All right. It's 11:41. So we should progress you know, to commencing with showing you what's going to be in the giveaway, you know. And Paul, don't worry. I mean, I don't know about that, Paul. There's a shit ton of knives on Blade Binge right now that are selling for a fortune and more than what they originally cost, and you know, they're Asian made. So I don't know if that's really quite true, you know. But you're right. Some of them, like your run of the mill, you know, CJRB pyrite, you're not going to get much for when you go to sell it. But your higher, your things like your tri-stash and stuff like that, even a bunch of the Devo knives, you know, they're on the aftermarket. They're selling for way more than they were when they first came out. You know, but I have nothing against American knives. I love them. I mean, it's just I have a problem with the pricing. Like this is one of my absolute favorite knives, and it's my Benchmade Bug Out. Obviously this one's been modded with the aftermarket, handles and everything, but one of my favorite knives. I carry this a lot, you know. But and you see it's almost in every video because I use that because everybody knows that knife, so it's a great knife to use for size comparison. But all right, let's move on because it is now 11:43 and we don't have a lot of time left. So let's talk about what we're giving away. So what we're giving away is a 3-knife set from Old Timer. It's a box set. It has this really nice metal tin that it comes with. And then on the other side, you've got 3 traditional knives. I saw this and was like, this would be good to give away for Christmas. It's not your modern knife. This is just more of that traditional knife. And Old Timer makes some nice traditional knives. So, but we've got 3 types of blades in here. You've got a single bladed, dual bladed, and one with 3 blades. So 1, 2, 3 different sizes. It's a nice little assortment. So we're going to give this away. The winner will get it. It's unopened, as much as I was tempted to open it and play with the knives, but I did not. So we're going to do the numbers game. So right behind here, I should have my pad. All right, let's. I'm getting old. All right. So we will go to the front of the book. We are going into the front of the login jotter, or the back of it, depending on how you want to look at it. And we're going to write a number. I'll write a number right in this book. So I'm going to pick a number. And if my mods could be ready, just so you know, so there's no shenanigans, There were numbers written here already that I just crossed off. So, but I'm going to write the number. How many people do we have here? 66. Good. So the number is in the book. The range, well, once we get it, once one of the mods puts up the start, puts up the green lights, we will give you the range. So again, it's here in the book. We will put the book here in my hat. Barbie says start. And Boominaji gives it the green light. All right. The range is between 200 and 400. Between 200 and 400. EDC King, that's not going to work. The range is between 200 and 400. I'll just sit here looking at the numbers, scrolling across the screen. We've got some good guesses. We got some good guesses. We got some real good guesses. Actually, they're all good guesses. Let's keep those numbers coming in. Got 67 people here. Yes, Jaybird, you only get one guess. So only your first guess is going to be, so if you want to go in and remove those second guesses, it's one guess and one guess only. Over 18 years old and in the US, continental USA only for shipping. So again, one guess and one guess only. Jaybird, you only get one guess. Stop. SC Knife Monkey, hello there again. I know I saw you earlier. All right. Thank you, Brown Sugar. Appreciate that. All right. Oh, no problem, Jaybird. I'm sorry, it was my fault too. I should have said the rules out loud beforehand. I was thinking them in my head, but sometimes words, if you don't say them out loud, nobody can hear them. You know, it's just funny how that works. Oh, let's see something here. I got to switch that. All messages. All right, looking like we're slowing down. Come on, everybody. Get your guesses in. All right. All right, let's get a stop sign up there, and we will reveal the number. All right, Boominati with the stop. All right, folks, the number in the book is 383. 383. So let's see who is closest. I might need some help on this because it's not letting me go back all the way. I see Robin Down with 373. Anybody closer than that? Switch that to 3. Anybody see? Is there anybody closer than 373? Oh, Wyvern Kodiak with 377. Kathleen Smith has 378. Kathleen, I think you might be closest because I saw that before. I think it's Kathleen Smith. Yes, from what I can see, it is Kathleen Smith with the win. Excellent, Kathleen Smith. You will be getting the old timer knife set with your collector's tin. So, Kathleen, you can reach out to me on either Instagram, and it's going to be Adventure50 on Instagram, or you can email me at ad. You know what? Let me put it. Let me have. We'll put my email in the chat just in case. I'll have EKG do it. All right. So EKG just put my email in the chat, Kathleen. It's adv50@gmail.com. Thank you. Thank you, sir. EKG. Appreciate that. So if you want to email me there, or like I said, reach out to me on Instagram at Adventure50. Wait, she had 278. But Wyvern had, oh, she had 270. Oh. Gotcha. Okay. You're right. You're right. So it's Wyvern. Wyvern Kodiak. Wyvern, you know how to get in touch with me. Just send me your information. You can reach out to me on Instagram, and I will get you the knife set. No, Kathleen didn't try to pull a fast one. Stop that. Be nice. Kathleen's a good, upstanding member of our community. So, congratulations, Wyvern. I will get this out to you. It's a nice set. I think it's pretty cool. So, no worries, Kathleen. It's all good. So, all right. We are at 11:53. So, we're almost time to wrap up. I do appreciate everybody who is here, everybody who gave super chats, everybody who's a channel member. So, we will have a show next Sunday. Yes, we'll have a show, our normal show next Sunday. And we will also have the Christmas Eve show. If we get to the 3,000 members by next week, we'll do the 3,000 member giveaways. Or no, we'll actually do that. We'll do that in January. That first show in January, we'll do that. You know, but top motorcycle rides in America. Very nice. But next Sunday, we will have our members only giveaway, and I've got something cool for that. So that's going to be fun. So there'll be an entry video, a members entry video that'll come out probably Wednesday or so, where you'll go in and enter. You guys know the drill. Comment video. It'll be members only, and that's going to be for the December. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're always a month behind. So this is actually for last month, this will be, it's the end of December. It's this month, I should say. But it'll be the members giveaway. And I got something cool planned for that. So that's going to be cool. Wyvern, this probably won't get mailed out this week because of the holiday. It'll probably go out either next weekend or the weekend after, depending on how everything goes. But I appreciate everybody being here, and everybody have a safe and joyous holiday. You know, you guys mean a lot to me. Not being able to be on last weekend was terrible. I hated it. It was driving me nuts. You know, I really do love hanging out with you guys every week. You know, it's just a lot of fun. You know, but like I said, I want everybody to be safe. If you're not doing anything Christmas Eve, I'm not sure if I'm going to go on at 8 or 9. I want to see who's on. I don't want to step on toes, but Merry Christmas, Rolf, to you and Barbie and everyone else. You know, Rolf and Barbie's live stream was fun today. They had the Christmas music going, and I was afraid about being demonetized, so that's why I didn't play Christmas music. You know, but I wasn't sure how that works, and I just realized that I never monetize my live streams anyway. So there's that, because I don't really want commercials popping up during the lives. You know, I'll turn on the monetization like after this is over, so that way the people watching the replay will see commercials. But I try not to. I don't want to do it during the live stream. Although some people said I should, but you know. All right. I thank you all again. I really appreciate it. This community is awesome. This has been a really great year being part of this, like with you guys and gals, hanging out every week, hanging out in the chats, getting to know each other over this last year. You know, like I said, if I could, I'd hug every one of you. Big group hug, you know? So with that being said, let's get a knife out. Be safe. Have a great time. Hopefully I'll see some people on Christmas Eve. If not, next Sunday we'll do this again. We'll have the members giveaway. And if we get to the 3,000, then we're going to have that big giveaway. That 3,000 giveaway is going to be big. I've got 3 knives already sitting there waiting for that giveaway. So, good night, everybody. As I always say, until we meet again, keep your blade sharp.